Konnichiwa. Now, I've just been for a jog and I've also had an idea. I'm writing a lot of stories at the moment, and I keep getting different ideas for different stories, and I've had this one for a little while, but it came through a bit stronger, and I was like, Jesus, I'm too busy writing these other stories. This is another one I'm just going to have to say to the camera. Also got a haircut. I'm just going to have to say this story to the camera so that I don't have to write it out. So it's about 75% worked out. So let's go. All right. There's this fella, and he's about my age, and his name's Alan. No, it's not. All right. So there's a fella. His name's John, and he works in an office, and he doesn't even know what he does in the office. He just, if he works harder, they give him more work. If he works less, no one even notices. I think he works for Department of Transport or something. But anyway, he really doesn't like his office job, and the highlight of his day is going for a jog in the morning. And every morning he runs past the river, or down the river, on the side of the river, not in the river. He runs down the river and under this bridge. And every day, and like under the bridge is sometimes like trolleys or just interesting stuff. Sometimes people throw bags of like stolen handbags off the bridge, and there's just sort of interesting stuff under the bridge. Interesting people sometimes he just waves at some homeless people. It's basically the highlight of his day because he's not sure what's going to be under the bridge. Anyway, and he's always hoping that it's something that will cause him not to have to go to work. And this one day, he's jogging along his usual routine, and then he sees like this shape in the water, like just where the water meets the edge, water meets the earth. And he's like, that's a dead body. And he's like, holy shit. And then like he forgets, that he likes seeing this stuff. And he's like, holy shit, this is actually a dead body. And he crawls through the bushes, and he gets down close. He's like, this is actually a dead body. And he's like, this is what I've been hoping for. And then he's like, he has this strangest diversion, a bit like a river, strangest diversion in his head. He's like, do I call my boss, tell him I can't come in? That's pretty cool. Or do I call the police? And he's like, for like at least 6 seconds, he's like, I don't know who to call. And he's like, oh, obviously, I need to call the police. So he calls the police, and he waits there for probably 10 minutes. And he just hears the cars going back and forward across the bridge above him, and he waves at a few more joggers, and he's like, this is nuts. And he's just like, he doesn't quite poke the body, but he's just like, who is this guy? What happened? He's obviously jumped off the bridge. He's just like, man, this is not what I was hoping for, but it's something. And then this two uniformed police officers come down, male and female, and they're walking. It's quite away from the car park, so they're just walking. They're like a fast walk, like probably have a clipboard or something. I don't know, iPad. They've got an iPad. They're clicking in it. And then they're about halfway to him, like probably 200 meters away. And then this other little shape just comes bolting down the hill. And it's this guy just running. He's like in office clothes, and his tires like flying everywhere. And he's just bolting past these police officers. And John is just like, who is this guy? They're not jogging clothes. And he's just like, whatever. And he bolts like between the two police officers, pushes him out of the road, just bolts at him. And then he gets there, and he's like puffing, and he's a little bit overweight. He's puffing, he's like, there's been a reporting of a possible suicide. Is your name John Smith? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, and who are you? He said, oh, sorry, I'm a detective Bob. I'm Detective Bob Donut. No, I'm Detective Bob. I've just got a few questions to ask you. Just come up here out of the bushes. And they get up onto the path, and then he's like, okay, so just ask those normal police questions, like, what time did you come past? And John gives him exact time because he's been waiting for this moment for like 6 years, no, maybe 11 years. Gave him the exact time, and he'd already written some notes out in his phone, and he's like, this is kablam, blah, blam. He said, I haven't touched the body. Looks like there's a wallet in his pocket. I haven't touched it. There's a bit of bulge in his pocket, blah, blah, blah. And then the just like he's had enough time to answer a few questions and get out of the bushes. And the other two police officers turn up, and Detective Bob says, you know, can you guys deal with sectioning off the area, blah, blah, blah. And he asked John a few more questions, and he said, I'm gonna have to ask you to come down to the office, down to the station. And he's like, all right, no worries. And he actually, I don't know if this is actually would be allowed, but he's like, John's like, well, I don't have my car here. I think from what I know, the station is, you know, 6 or 7 kilometers from here. So do you want me to Uber it? Do you want me to go with you? And he's like, mate, come in the car. Let's go. So they jump in the car. They walk up this thing, and Detective Bob's still just huffing and puffing a little bit. They get in the car. Clud, clud. The door's shut. And he's like, whew. Okay. So what were you doing? And he said, John says, I was just going for my normal run. And he's like, and Bob's just a little bit suspect. And he's like, okay, so you're just going for a run. Do you do that every day? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, how? And like, John's like, people go for runs in the morning. And he's like, whatever. And then John just says, well, maybe we should get down the office and take this further. And Bob's like, oh yeah, sorry, okay. All right, let's go. And they drive down the office. They get in open the doors. They walk. Bob waves at the office lady. How you going? Waves at his this other fella who looks. John can just tell that that's his boss because he just looks like a boss. He's a bit fat. And he's like, hey boss, hey Bob. They walk into the thing, and he follows all the procedures. And John notices that Bob's just a little bit excited, and he's like, what's this guy's problem? He thinks I've got a problem. This Bob fella, he's more suspect than me. I think he pushed him off the bridge. Anyway, they go into the thing, they follow the procedures, record the conversation, ask all the regular questions, and you know, says what time it was, what he was doing last night, what John was doing last night. A few more questions. Does he know suspect, or not the suspect, the John Doe, I don't know. Does he know him? No. They just go through all the regular questions, and then he turns the recorder off, and he's just like, so John, what's your story? Like, and then John's like, well, do you want the truth? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, you know, my life's going nowhere, and I go to work every day, and the office is a bit like this one, really. Department of Transport, I don't know what I'm doing. And the most exciting part of my day, sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional. Not really. The most exciting part of my day is going for a jog. You know, like I find weird stuff under the bridge. Just love getting out. I love waving at people that are running the opposite way. I just love it. And I look at the river. I go every day. So like, as the tides are changing, I can almost tell you like 3 weeks in advance where the river will be at the time when I run past. And then Bob gets suspect again, and he's like, oh, you seem to know this area well. And then John's like, dude, it's a suicide. I didn't kill him, all right? I found him. And Bob's like, yeah, sorry, bro, sorry. He didn't call him bro, but he said, sorry, yeah, okay. And then John says, let's go check my notes. Okay, I haven't got very many. So they get down the office, and he's like, well, John says, can I ask you what your story is? And he's like, oh, that's not really procedure. And he's like, well, the recorder's off, so what's your story? And he's like, well, pretty much the same as you. Like, I used to be a uniformed police officer. I used to be out on the street. I used to love it, and just getting out, getting mad at people, giving some speeding tickets, bloody, just getting amongst it. I sort of miss it. Like, just listening to you, John, like, it's just dawned on me now that that's what I miss. I've been stuck in this friggin' office like for too many years now, and I'm getting paid more, but I don't like it. And then John puts 2 and 2 together, and he says, oh, so is that why you were running past the uniformed police officers? Because you wanted to get down there first to get the case and get there before anyone else and get out of the office. And a bit of a pause, and And Bob's like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. And then there's a bit of an awkward pause, and they're both just looking at each other, and they're like, yeah, it's office work, hey? It's not fun. Not real fun at all. And then to break the pause, ring, ring, ring. The phone rings. That's on the table, and then Bob picks it up, and he's, hello, Inspector Bob. I don't know. That's a weird name, Bob. Anyway, Inspector Bob, and then he's like, yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Hangs up the phone, and John's like, what happened? What is it? And Bob's just like, that was just my boss, and he said that they just received a call from John Doe's boss, and he's found a note on his desk in the office, and it's a suicide note, and it's just says he doesn't like his job. That's what it boils down to, and he just needed to get out. So so John and Bob just sat there looking at each other, and then John's like, what are you doing this weekend? And he's like, following procedures, I don't know. He said, well, what are you doing this weekend, Bob? And Bob's like, I don't know. Well, I don't go to the office on the weekend, so that's always good. But John's like, yeah, but what are you doing this weekend? And Bob's like, I don't know. Do you want to do something? And John's like, let's go fishing. And then they're like, let's go fishing. Bob's your uncle. Maybe that could be the title of the story, Bob's your uncle. Nah, that doesn't work. Anyway, they go fishing, not in this, I don't know, maybe you can leave in the comments. Would it be good for them to go fishing off the bridge? No, because it would be quite a high bridge. Too high to fish off if someone died off it. Where do they go fishing? Do they go fishing at the spot where John Doe dies? That could be. And also, what office did John Doe work in? We've got Department of Main Roads, police officers. Where did John Doe work? Anyway, that's my story. Gonna have my dinner now. Booyah! Corned meat. That's all I got. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Alan Saunderson. That's as exciting as it gets. Dessert. Booyah. Konnichiwa.